My late mother left me her home and my brother insisted on a cut, but I said no because of his destructive habits. Can you imagine pouring your heart and soul into your family, dedicating everything, only for your own brother to betray you in the cruelest way possible? This isn't just about money, it's about the shattering of trust, the ultimate betrayal from someone you loved, and it started right after my mom passed away. My mom, she was only 61. Cancer. It took her so fast last month, and honestly, the world just went blurry. I'm 27, and suddenly I was drowning in grief, funeral plans, paperwork, her estate, everything. I never, ever thought I'd be dealing with this so young. Especially not this soon. But the real reason I'm even telling you this story, the real kick to the gut, is my younger brother, Noah. He's 26, just a year younger than me. We grew up glued at the hip, you know? Always thought we were close. After Mom's funeral, we went to her lawyer. Just to read the will. I figured, straightforward, right? Split everything down the middle. That's what normal families do. But that's not what happened. Not at all. Mom's only big asset was her house. And she left it entirely to me. Noah? He got some personal items, family heirlooms, sentimental stuff, but nothing, and I mean nothing, with real financial value. The lawyer finished. Noah was just stunned. Absolutely silent. But the moment we stepped out of that office, everything changed. It was like a switch flipped. He cornered me in the parking lot, spitting accusations. Said I'd manipulated Mom, cut him out. He demanded I sell the house, right then, and give him half the money. I tried to explain, tried to tell him I never even talked to Mom about the will, had no clue this was coming. But he just wouldn't listen. He called me a liar. Said I always thought I was better than him. The shouting got louder. People started staring. I tried to calm him, but he just stormed off, threatening to get a lawyer, to contest everything. He hasn't spoken to me since, not really. Just angry texts demanding his fair share of Mom's estate. Normally, yeah, I probably would have just sold the house, split the money. It's an hour away from where I live and work, not a booming area for property value. But I hesitated. Because deep down, I think I understood why Mom did this. Even if we never talked about it. Noah, he's always been brilliant. Charismatic. Scored near perfect on his SATs without even trying. Popular, naturally. Got into a great university, partial scholarship. He had the world at his feet. Then freshman year hit. And everything just fell apart. Addictions. Alcohol first, then gaming, then harder stuff. I offered to pay for rehab countless times. He always refused. And it just kept getting worse. Mom, bless her heart, gave him her credit card for college expenses. He was charging thousands every month on junk. Not school. Eventually, she had to cut him off, put him on a debit card with limits. His relationships were chaos, too. Dramatic breakups. He'd even threaten self-harm if they left him. One time, he got into a physical fight with campus security. Almost got expelled. Despite all his smarts, he never graduated. Failed classes, got suspended for cheating. Just stopped going. He even lied to Mom and me for almost a year, pretending he'd graduated before we found out the truth. Now he works a part-time lab tech job, way below his potential. But it's all he could get in his field without a degree. And what makes this whole situation even harder? I've been the one pouring my life into our family financially. 5 years ago, Mom's health started failing. I ditched my passion for photography and took a high-stress finance job. Why? So I could pay off her mortgage, set up a retirement fund. Mom had spent most of her savings putting us through college, supporting Noah's lifestyle. She had practically nothing left. Noah knows all this. He knows I supported Mom for years while he was still taking money from her. This inheritance? For me, it's a nice bonus, maybe a year's salary. Not life-changing. But for him? If he used it right, it could be transformative. My plan was to sell the house, invest the money. And I wanted to create a trust for Noah. Pay for rehab, education, if he ever wanted to go back to school, finish his degree, even get that PhD he used to dream about. I'd cover the expenses directly, when he was ready. But I'm terrified. If I just hand him half the money, no strings attached? I know he'll blow it on substances, or expensive clothes and tech he can't afford. But he's an adult. He'll see any conditions as controlling. Patronizing. I haven't talked to anyone about this. It feels too personal. How do I help him without enabling him? And more importantly, how do I even talk to him about this without making things even worse? Because the thing is, Noah was incredible. Growing up, he was thoughtful, could make anyone laugh. Loved animals, spent hours watching insects, birds. Track star in high school, won competitions. I remember him teaching himself basic coding in middle school, created this little game that even impressed his teacher. I think Dad leaving when Noah was 14 really messed him up. Dad's intermittent emotional abuse, it hit Noah hard. I went to therapy, worked through it. Noah? He just refused to talk about it. And sometimes I still see glimpses of that brother. Moments where he truly regrets things, talks about wanting to change. Those moments, they give me hope. Hope that the person I knew is still there, buried underneath everything else. Mom, after Dad left, worked 2 jobs just to send us to college. She wanted us to have what she never did. When Noah got into his dream university, she cried happy tears. Even when he started struggling, she never gave up. She'd call me, worried, but always ended with, "He'll figure it out eventually." The last time I saw Mom before her diagnosis, Noah was there. He helped her in the garden, fixed a leaky faucet. They laughed looking at old photos. That's the brother I want to help. Not enable. I'm not trying to control his life. I just want Mom's final gift to actually help him, move him toward a healthier future. But how do I say all this when he's convinced I stole his inheritance? Okay, so after I shared all of that, the outpouring of support and advice was incredible. You guys really helped me think. So, I decided I had to try. I invited Noah over for dinner. No phone calls, no texts. A real, face-to-face conversation. I spent all day cooking Mom's lasagna, her apple pie, comfort food, hoping it would make things easier. To my surprise, he agreed. And when he showed up? He looked better. Clearer eyes than at the funeral. He even offered to help cook. For a few hours, we just reminisced. Childhood memories. Late-night video games. Our guinea pig that lived 7 years. Funny stories about Mom's terrible sense of direction. It felt like we were connecting again. Like I saw my brother again. Smart. Funny. Kind-hearted. After dinner, things got serious. We actually talked about Dad. For the first time in years. I told him how therapy helped me with the anger, the sadness. Noah just listened, nodded sometimes. And then I brought up the inheritance. I told him, clearly, that I wasn't just giving him half the house money, not immediately. I explained I'd set aside money specifically for his education, therapy, rehab, if he was ever ready. I told him I'd happily pay for those expenses directly. The money from the house sale? It was already in a separate investment portfolio, with his name on it. He didn't say anything. Just sat there. For what felt like an eternity. Then, to my absolute shock, he broke down. He started crying. Apologizing. For how he'd treated me, Mom, all these years. The lies. The threats. The stealing. Everything. He admitted he still wanted his PhD, the one he'd talked about since he was 17. But he was terrified of failing again. He said high school was easy, but college? It hit him hard. He couldn't just coast anymore. Academic demands, turbulent relationships. He turned to substances to cope. The shame of not graduating? Overwhelming. He lied about it for months because he couldn't face disappointing us. As he spoke, my heart just broke. The weight he'd been carrying. It all made sense. We talked until sunrise. Before he left, I told him how proud I was of his honesty, his desire to change. I promised my support. We hugged, the first time since Mom's funeral. He said he'd message me about next steps. I felt a weight lift. I really, truly believed he'd hit rock bottom. That he was finally ready. I was wrong. He hadn't hit rock bottom yet. The next day, silence. No messages, no emails. The day after? Bank alerts. Suspicious transactions. Noah. He'd stolen my debit card information during dinner. During our dinner. I was shocked. Hurt beyond words. I messaged him, told him how his actions made me feel. Warned him about legal consequences if he did this again. Silence. Another week went by. I monitored his social media just to make sure he was alive, but otherwise, I gave him space. I figured shame, or he was using again. I decided to wait. Wait for him to reach out when he was truly ready. 2 weeks later, at 3 a.m., my phone rang. It was Noah. He was on a weekend trip. Heavy drinking. Drugs. His best friend, his former roommate, Marcus, had overdosed. Died. Noah called me from the hospital, barely able to speak through his sobs. Marcus was an only child. Parents overseas. Brilliant, just like Noah, top of his class, but also struggling with substances. His parents were devastated. The friend who supplied the drugs? Vanished. Didn't even show up at the memorial. It was heartbreaking. For everyone. But this tragedy. This became the catalyst. The real wake-up call. Noah finally agreed to therapy. For his grief, his addiction, the trauma from our father's abuse. It took a few tries to find the right fit, but the fourth therapist? He clicked with her. He's been seeing her regularly since. He also moved out. Away from his old friends, the heavy users. He's living with Ben, my high school friend who needed a roommate. They get along. Noah says he's been clean since. I believe him. Though, it's hard to be completely certain. He pays his own rent now, from his part-time job. I cover his therapy. He's apologized repeatedly for stealing my card. He acknowledged it was the addiction talking. And he's developed this intense exercise routine. Running miles. Lifting weights. Suddenly, he's vegan. I suspect he's channeling those addictive tendencies into fitness. Which, honestly, seems like a much healthier outlet. It's been a journey. Noah and I? We talk regularly now. Coffee on weekends. Online gaming sometimes. Texting throughout the week. I'm trying to be supportive, not overbearing, a balance many of you suggested. His mental state has improved dramatically. Recovery isn't a straight line, of course. He still has difficult days. But overall, he's doing better than I've seen him in years. And the biggest news? Noah is going back to university next semester. To complete his degree. It wasn't easy. His academic record, multiple failed semesters, that cheating incident where Marcus copied his exam, the campus police altercation, the university was hesitant. But after several meetings, the dean, who thankfully was sympathetic, gave him one final chance. He needs to pass 4 specific classes to graduate. His GPA won't be stellar, but that degree? It's a massive step. The PhD dream? Still a maybe. But getting that undergraduate degree is the necessary first step. I paid his tuition for the upcoming semester. It felt like exactly what Mom would have wanted. He's been studying like crazy, preparing. Determined not to waste this. Still going to therapy. Maintaining sobriety. Last weekend, we went to Mom's grave. Together. First time since the funeral. He brought wildflowers, her favorite. We just talked for an hour, sharing memories. And Noah shared stories I'd never heard. How Mom would secretly help him with his science projects, pretending she needed his help. Guiding him through it. Then he told me something that really surprised me. During Mom's final weeks, while I was buried in medical appointments and insurance, Noah visited her every day. He said they had long conversations. She encouraged him to get his life back on track. Told him she believed in him completely, even when he couldn't believe in himself. He said those conversations made Marcus' death so devastating. He felt like he was failing Mom all over again. The night Marcus overdosed, Noah realized he could have been the one who died. A moment of absolute clarity, he called it. Cutting through years of denial. He asked me if I knew why Mom left the house to me. I told him I could only guess, maybe she worried a large sum of money would harm him while he was struggling. He nodded. Said that's exactly what she told him. She trusted me to make the right decisions for both of us. Said that when he was ready, I would help him build the future she knew he was capable of achieving. This revelation. It brought an unexpected peace. I'd been carrying the weight of that decision, worried I wasn't honoring her wishes. Knowing she'd explicitly trusted me? It validated everything I'd done. Noah's genuinely committed now. Maintaining his intense exercise, but balancing it. Joined a recreational soccer league. Reading voraciously again, like he did as a kid. The trust fund for his education? Formally set up, with clear parameters. Education, therapy, health insurance, emergency medical. He was even involved in setting the guidelines. He agreed they made sense. It's been 9 months since Mom passed. 9 months. And so much has changed. I wanted to share this final update because so many of you asked how things turned out. Noah completed his first semester back at university. Passed all his classes. It wasn't easy. He studied nonstop. Sought help. His professors noticed his commitment. For the first time in years, Noah seemed proud of himself. Grades weren't perfect, but that's not the biggest change. 3 months ago, Noah got accepted into a prestigious research internship. One of his professors, impressed by his perseverance, recommended him despite his record. It's in environmental science, habitat restoration. Combines his love of nature with his scientific mind. This internship? It's opened doors we didn't think possible. His supervisor even mentioned a graduate program next year, if he keeps performing. It's more field research, less classroom. A better fit for him. He's been sober for 8 months now. Still weekly therapy. Connected with a support group for young adults in recovery. He's building healthy friendships through the internship and soccer league, slowly distancing himself from his old crowd. We've started a new tradition, monthly dinners. We cook Mom's recipes together. During our last dinner, he told me he's volunteering at a youth center. Talking to teenagers about substance abuse, mental health. Hearing him speak so candidly about his experiences, watching him connect with those kids. It's remarkable. Truly. The house sold 2 months ago, slightly above asking. Most of the proceeds are in Noah's trust fund. But I did make one change. I released a small portion directly to him. For a reliable car. To commute to his internship, which is in a remote area. This decision was based on his demonstrated responsibility. He researched affordable, fuel-efficient options. Chose a practical used car, not something flashy. Maintained it meticulously. Even helped a colleague with rides when their car broke down. He earned that trust. Marcus's parents visited last month for the 1-year anniversary of their son's death. Noah organized a small memorial gathering. Watching him support them through their grief, it showed me how much he's matured. He spoke about how Marcus's death changed his perspective, led him to make different choices. The friend who supplied the drugs that night actually reached out to Noah recently, wanting to reconnect. Noah declined. He explained he didn't blame him, but he needed distance from anyone associated with that lifestyle. It was a difficult decision, but it showed his unwavering commitment to recovery. Noah and I still have disagreements. Recovery isn't perfect. There are challenging days, moments of tension. But the constant anger, the volatility that poisoned our relationship after Mom's death? That's gone. Replaced by mutual respect. Understanding. I really believe Mom would be proud of both of us. Not just Noah's progress, but how we navigated this together. The inheritance that initially tore us apart? It ultimately funded Noah's second chance. Exactly as she might have hoped. Noah's even started talking about teaching or conservation work after he finishes his education. Watching him find purpose, direction, after all those years of struggling? That's been the greatest outcome of this impossible journey. As for me? I've started taking photography classes on weekends. Something I put aside years ago when I chose financial security over passion. Noah encouraged me. Said Mom would want both of us to build fulfilling lives. And he's right. I don't know what the future holds. But for the first time in years, I'm hopeful. For Noah's path. For my own. The road hasn't been straight. It hasn't been easy. But we're both finding our way. We really are. This story, it was a roller coaster. Highs, lows, betrayals, and unexpected turns. Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with family, even when it hurt? How did you navigate it? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. The double betrayal that shattered my world. Imagine pouring your heart and soul into building a life, a business, a family, only to have the two people you trusted most in this world, your own parents, scam you out of every last penny you've saved. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. What happened next? It shattered my entire world and made me question everything I thought I knew about love and loyalty. I'm 44. I've been married for 15 years, and until recently, I thought I had a pretty good life. I own a chain of cafes with my business partners. We started from one little spot, worked our butts off, and now we have 5 across the city. It wasn't easy, but we made it. We built something. Then, a few months ago, my parents, 64 and 63, approached me. They said they needed money. Needed it to save their property. They had a huge debt, they claimed, because of my upbringing, all the expenses, plus some poor financial decisions they'd made over the years. Growing up, we weren't rich. My parents worked tirelessly. Dad was a factory worker, always pulling overtime. Mom juggled a teaching job and her tailoring business from home. They sacrificed everything to give me a good education, opportunities they never had. I still remember the day they scraped together enough money for my first computer, second-hand, ancient, but to me, it was everything. That computer, it ignited my passion for business software, led me to college, to my career. They said most of the loan was from Mom's elder brother, Uncle Jim, who'd passed away last year. Uncle Jim was the family success story, construction company, big house. He even loaned them money for my college tuition when their savings ran dry. Now, everything Uncle Jim owned went to his son, my cousin Derek. Derek and I never got along. He was 3 years older, always a bully, always making sure I knew he was better off. We barely spoke as adults. And now, my parents claimed Derek wanted all his father's money back, immediately, or he'd sue. They said they'd paid most of it back, just needed $100,000 more to be debt-free. It sounded plausible. Given Derek's character. Given my family's history. I suggested talking to Derek directly, but they panicked. Insisted he wasn't ready to communicate. Mom's hands were shaking as she explained. Dad looked more worn out than I'd ever seen him. It broke my heart to see them like that, especially after everything they'd done for me. After agonizing over it, I decided I would help. I gave them the $100,000. It was off the books. And it was a huge amount for me. 16 years it took to save that. Money I'd set aside for my kids' college, for my family's safety net. I handed it over, a knot of concern and relief in my gut. I thought I was doing the right thing. Helping the people who'd given so much. I had no idea. No idea this decision would turn my life upside down. A week later, they sold their house. I was surprised, but thought, okay, maybe downsizing. But then, they vanished. Their phones were disconnected. Emails bounced back. No one, not a single relative, knew where they were. I was devastated. Absolutely gutted. I couldn't believe it. After everything we'd been through? The betrayal cut so deep. It made me question every memory. Every sacrifice. Were those memories even real? How could the people who worked extra shifts for my second-hand computer turn around and scam me? This whole thing caused a massive rift between my wife and me. At first, she was shocked, sympathetic. Held me as I broke down. "We'll figure it out," she said. But as days turned into weeks, and I started talking about suing them, about getting my money back, she became increasingly resistant. "They're your parents," she'd say, over and over. "You can't sue your own family." But I felt I had no choice. This wasn't just about the money. It was about the trust. The lies. The blatant disregard for our relationship. We argued constantly. She thought I was overreacting. That there had to be an explanation. But why? Why would my parents, who preached honesty, act like this? I couldn't sleep. Replaying every conversation. Searching for clues. Warning signs. My cafe business suffered. My partners were patient, but I knew they were worried. It's hard to focus when your life is in shambles. I think about opening that first cafe. Tiny place, barely bigger than a food truck. My parents were so proud. Dad worked the register. Mom baked muffins. They believed in me. Now I stare at the walls of our flagship store and wonder, were those memories real? Did they support me out of love? Or were they just investing in a future payday? I considered a private investigator. But a part of me was terrified of what I'd find. What if they were in trouble? Or worse, what if they really just took the money and ran? That $100,000 was our family's safety net. Our kids' college fund. A down payment on a vacation home. Now those dreams? Gone. I'm torn. Angry. Worried. I still hope there's a reasonable explanation. But what do I do? Sue? Find them myself? Or just listen to my wife and let it go? I need advice. Okay, a month after my last post, things have taken an even more shocking turn. After a lot of internal debate, and several heated arguments with my wife, I decided to go ahead with the lawsuit against my parents. This decision? It caused a major blowout with my wife. She was absolutely against it, accusing me of tearing the family apart. Her reaction seemed extreme. Even for her. One night, after a particularly vicious argument where she called me heartless and selfish, I noticed something. My wife was acting strangely with her phone. Taking it everywhere. Even the bathroom. It was so unlike her. My gut screamed something was off. So, I did something I'm not proud of. While she was sleeping, I checked her phone. What I found, it left me speechless. Dozens of messages. Between her and my parents. They had been in constant contact this whole time. As I scrolled through those messages, my entire world crumbled. My parents did have the money to pay their debt. But they didn't want to. Instead, they had conspired with my wife to scam me out of the $100,000. The messages laid it all out. An elaborate story about the debt, the threatening cousin, knowing I'd want to help. My wife's role? To convince me to give them the money. And then, when they disappeared, to discourage me from pursuing legal action. I was blindsided. Not just my parents. My wife of 15 years. The person I trusted most. The one who I thought would always have my back. She'd been lying to my face for weeks. Scrolling further, I saw messages dating back months before they even asked for money. They had been planning this for a long, long time. Discussions on how to approach me. What story would be most convincing? How to handle the aftermath. I felt physically ill. My wife, coaching my parents on how to act desperate, worried. She knew all my weak spots. All the buttons to push. She used her knowledge of our finances to figure out exactly how much they could ask for without making me suspicious. The betrayal cut me to the bone. All those nights I spent tossing and turning, worried about my parents, with my wife comforting me. All those times she told me to let it go. It was all part of their plan. I confronted her the next morning. At first, denial. But when I showed her the messages, she broke down. Confessed everything. She said she did it because we needed the money. Apparently, she'd gotten us into some serious debt with online shopping and gambling. Hiding it from me. It started small, she sobbed. A few purchases. A bit of poker. But it snowballed. She was deep in. When my parents approached her, she saw it as her way out. I was too angry. Too hurt to even process her excuses. The woman I'd shared my life with for 15 years. The mother of my children. She betrayed me in the worst possible way. I told her to leave. Immediately. She's with her sister now. I told her not to contact me except through my lawyer. I've expanded the lawsuit. To include my wife. I know. Some might say it's extreme. But I can't let this level of betrayal go unpunished. The trust, in my marriage, in my relationship with my parents? Irreparably broken. Forever. The hardest part? Explaining it to the kids. They're 13 and 11. Old enough to know something serious is happening. Young enough to be confused and utterly heartbroken. I've tried to be honest, without vilifying their mom or grandparents. It's a delicate balance. My daughter, always so perceptive, asked if this meant we weren't going on our planned family vacation. My son, usually so stoic, just broke down crying when he realized his mom wouldn't be living with us anymore. Their pain? It just fuels my anger. My business partners have been incredible, stepping up, handling more. Giving me space. I'm grateful, but I know I need to get back to work. For my own sanity. I've started therapy. It's helping. Having someone objective to talk to navigate this storm of emotions. Some days, it's consuming anger. Other days, overwhelming sadness. Then there are days when I feel nothing at all. Which is almost worse. The lawsuit is moving. Slowly. My lawyer's optimistic, but warns it'll take time. Meanwhile, I'm trying to heal. Rebuild my life. Without the people I thought I could trust most. It's been 3 months since my last update, and things have taken yet another shocking turn. The lawsuit is progressing, but it's been an absolute emotional roller coaster. My lawyer suggested hiring a professional to find my parents. They were still off the grid. But after some searching, we found them. Hundreds of miles away, in a small coastal town. They'd bought a modest house with some of my money. When confronted, they tried to stick to their story. But faced with the evidence, especially those messages with my wife, they finally admitted to the scam. Their confession? A relief, yes, but also a fresh wave of pain. My mother broke down, crying. Said they never meant to hurt me. Claimed they'd always struggled financially, saw this as their only chance at a comfortable retirement. Years of constant worry. watching their friends retire comfortably while they lived paycheck to paycheck. In her mind, it was about peace of mind. My father? Stoic. Unapologetic. He argued that after everything they'd done for me, they deserved the money. He listed every sacrifice, every extra job, missed vacation, hand-me-down clothes so I could have new ones. In his eyes, this was just balancing the scales. His attitude only hardened my resolve. I reminded him of all the times I'd helped them. Paying off their car. Medical bills. Offering to help them move to a cheaper area. I was always there. And this was how they repaid me. Their location, their confession, it added new complexity to the legal proceedings. My lawyer is confident, but warns that family court is unpredictable, emotionally draining. Personally, I'm still reeling from these betrayals. My kids? They're having a hard time understanding why they can't see their grandparents, or their mom. I've arranged therapy for them. My daughter still asks about her grandparents, the people who babysat her, took her to the park, now off limits. My son, he's withdrawn. Grades slipping. Lost interest in his hobbies. My soon-to-be ex-wife is trying to reconcile. Messages through her lawyer. So sorry. Want to make things right. But I'm not ready to forgive. Or trust. Not yet. Our divorce is moving forward. Negotiating custody. Work has been my anchor. My stability. I've thrown myself into expanding the cafe chain. 2 new locations. A welcome focus. My friends have been incredible. A listening ear. Help with the kids. My best friend, Mike? He's been a rock. Coming over, helping with chores, just keeping me company when the kids are with their mother. As difficult as this has been, it's been a wake-up call. I'm learning to set boundaries. To trust my gut. To value myself more. It's a painful lesson. But I'm determined to come out of this stronger. Wiser. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I'm finally seeing some light. Some resolution to this agonizing saga. The lawsuit against my parents and my ex-wife? It's concluded. And I wanted to share the outcome. After months of legal battles, court appearances, mountains of paperwork, the court ruled in my favor. My parents and ex-wife have been ordered to repay the full $100,000, plus interest and legal fees. The judge? He was brutal. Called their actions a deplorable breach of family trust. The day of the final hearing, my stomach was in knots. My parents looked ancient. My ex-wife, her eyes red. Despite everything, a part of me still ached, seeing them like that. My parents, forced to comply, agreed to sell their coastal home to repay me. They're moving back to our hometown, staying with my aunt until they can get back on their feet. The house sold quickly, but for less than they hoped. Just enough for a small rental. Dad called me after the sale. His voice, gruff with emotion. Said they were sorry. Never meant for things to go this far. Mom got on the phone, sobbing her apology. They asked if we could reconcile. Rebuild. I told them I needed time. A lot of time. My ex-wife couldn't pay her share immediately. She's agreed to a payment plan. Taken a second job. Our divorce is final. Co-parenting arrangement in place. It's still tense. But we're trying for the kids. Dropping them off at her new, small apartment, a far cry from our family home, was awkward. They were excited to see her, heartwarming and painful at once. As I left, she looked at me. Sadness. Regret. For a moment, I saw the woman I fell in love with. But the memory of her betrayal? It quickly overshadowed everything. The kids? They're slowly adjusting. Therapy is helping. They're starting to understand that good people can make bad choices. A tough lesson. My daughter still asks about her grandparents, but less. My son's grades are improving. Interest in hobbies returning. The cafe. Business? A silver lining. The new locations are thriving. We're even looking at expanding to a neighboring state. Work has been a blessed distraction. Personally, I'm working through my trust issues in therapy. It's slow. But I'm making progress. I've even started dating again. Taking it slow. Being upfront. It's nice to remember there are honest, trustworthy people out there. I met Sarah at a business owner meetup. She runs a bookstore, been through a tough divorce too. We've had a few dates. Not ready for serious. But it's good to have someone who understands. I'm also rebuilding other family relationships. My aunts, uncles, cousins, they've been amazing. Regular family dinners, minus my parents. It reminds me that family is more than just blood. Last week, my cousin Derek, the one my parents claimed was threatening to sue them, he reached out. Heard what happened. Wanted to clear the air. We met for coffee. He explained he never asked my parents for money. Uncle Jim had forgiven most of their debt before he passed. That conversation? It brought closure. And also, new questions about my parents' true motivations. As for my parents, I'm not ready to have them back in my life. They've sent letters. But I don't know if I'll ever fully trust them again. For now, I'm focusing on healing, moving forward. The kids have asked about seeing their grandparents. I'm considering supervised visits down the line, but I'm not there yet. My therapist says to take it slow, prioritize the children's well-being. This whole experience? A harsh lesson. On financial independence. On the dangers of blind trust. Even with family. I wouldn't wish this on anyone, but I've grown. More cautious. More appreciative of the genuine relationships in my life. Sitting here, overlooking my bustling cafe, I reflect on how much has changed. The journey's been painful. But I'm seeing a way forward. I'm focusing on being the best father. Growing my business. Rebuilding my life. Thank you for all your support. Your advice, your kind words, they've been my strength during my darkest moments. I don't know what the future holds. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Life goes on. And I'm determined to make the best of it. This story was wild, right? Have you ever had a relationship with someone you thought you knew turn out to be completely different? Or faced such a deep betrayal from family? Share your experiences, your thoughts, your advice in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear what you think.